Hello and welcome to Legal Knowledge. My name is Michael, and you're watching this show live. If you are watching on the 18th of September, we do a replay on Wednesday, every Wednesday at 11. So please call in. Let's see if do we have phone numbers? Phone numbers, maybe. All right. To tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about the case for impeachment. Before I talk about that, this is the second episode of the second season. We're online right here, Legal Knowledge. That's in the background right there, website. You can actually go online there and register and post. If you can put your own postings up. It's a fun site. There are forums. And get to the top of the page here. And there we go. All that we should have known and we're never supposed to find out. So anyway, moving on. Tonight's topic is the case for impeachment. We're going to be talking about a little background before we go to the phone lines. So just hang on there a second. Impeachment, well, the whole process of impeachment, when you have a ruler who usurps power, who doesn't do it your liking, the whole concept came from England way back. It was particularly useful on pirate ships, where our idea of the pure democracy came from. Yes, of course, there's democracy in Greece. But on a pirate ship, if the captain was to be impeached, they would be dropped off on the next uninhabited island, marooned, as it were. And that was basically because they were doing something that the rest of the crew did not want them to do. We have used, in terms of that sort of democracy, we've used a lot of the concepts from that when evolving from the Kingdom of England to the Constitutional Republic of the United States. In the Constitution, in Article 2, Section 4, it states that the President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Now, the question, I mean, there's not really a question of what treason is or bribery, but high crimes and misdemeanors have always been a question in some minds. Alexander Hamilton in the Federalist, in number 65, marked that Britain was the model from which the process had been borrowed, the process of impeachment. Now that model in England involving high crimes, the definition of high crimes is not serious crimes or it's actually crimes committed by those who are in high authority. So instead of thinking of high crimes as something terrible, it's just crimes committed by a person in authority, or misdemeanors by, obviously, the person in authority. And that the phrase was used many times since the 1400s in England. The reasons in England that they used things like high crimes and misdemeanors, subverting constitutional law or the Magna Carta, or expanding power, squandering away the public treasure is one that was used in England. as early as in 1450 for William de la Pole, who was a Duke of Suffolk, and he was impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors. In the Constitution, we decided to use that term because we were basing what our legal terminology is based on that terminology from England. During the Constitutional Convention, a man named George Mason from Virginia, a delegate there, suggested the term maladministration in place of high crimes and misdemeanors, which would be interesting. That was considered, and it was rejected on the basis of a number of people, including James Madison, thought it was vague. So we are left with the Constitution that we have currently, which is what I'd read. So throughout the United States' history, we've had a number of impeachments. Actually, the first impeachment was not of Andrew Johnson. It was in 1797 of Senator William Blount, because he tried to get the Creek and Cherokee Indians in Florida to fight the Spanish, to try to take over Florida from the Spanish, to try to help it. And he was impeached for compromising U.S.'s neutrality towards Spain. In 1868, Andrew Johnson had a thing called the Tenure of Office Act, which was passed by the Republican Congress from the North. Andrew Johnson was, as you may know, Lincoln had picked people that were opposite his viewpoint in an effort to try to reconcile the nation when, at the end of the Civil War, or toward the end. And so he ended up with a bunch of people that were not with the same viewpoint as all the Republican Congress, and when the South was repatriated, there was obviously a lot of tension there, and Johnson had very much of an intention of replacing the varied cabinet between the North and the South. There were different people that they had representing, with people sympathetic to Andrew Johnson's point of view. So Congress made this act called the Tenure of Office Act, and it prohibited Andrew Johnson from replacing his cabinet. And so he decided that wasn't, constitutional, and then decided to replace his Secretary of War, Edwin M. Stanton. And 3 days later, he was impeached. The impeachment was not successful, and he served out the rest of his term. Oh yeah, by the way, that's something that I think should also be pointed out, that the remedy for impeachment is simply the removal of office, removal from office and the ability to serve in any public office. It isn't, jail time or anything. So when we're talking about impeaching Bush and Cheney, which is what we are talking about, and how to, and the case for impeachment, there would have to be a separate trial following that, for war crimes and whatnot. All that the impeachment would do is remove them from office. Now, bear in mind that's going to happen on January 19th of 2009. So there have been a number of judges who have been impeached. John Pickering in 1803 for intoxication on the bench, Samuel Chase for partisanship, George English for favoritism. There have been many judges, apparently, who have been impeached for personal gain on the bench. So these are all impeachable offenses. In 1974, Nixon obviously resigned before he was fully impeached, which probably would have happened in 1998 Clinton for lying under oath. Did not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky, under oath. Well, okay, the Scar had sex, but whatever. So currently, the reasons that you can impeach someone, okay, lying to the American public, not under oath, mind you, but lying to the American public is not an impeachable offense. Maladministration was rejected. So Katrina is not an impeachable offense. So what is an impeachable offense? Well, when Bush took his oath of office, he laid his right hand on the Bible, and he was taking an oath. So, under oath, he swore to preserve and protect the laws of the United States of America and the Constitution. If he doesn't do that, he has committed perjury because he was under oath, and now he is perjuring himself by not doing that. That is an impeachable offense. Violating the oath of office, that is an impeachable offense. Personal gain, obviously, is an impeachable offense. For Cheney, particularly, Halliburton, all of the no-bid contracts, that is an impeachable offense. Squandering the public money on Iraq and Afghanistan, well, maybe not so much Afghanistan, but definitely Iraq, you know, giving how much money to Israel, that could possibly be an impeachable offense. The thing is, when you hear about impeachment from websites like, you know, afterdowningstreet.org, impeachbush.tv, impeachpac.org, Dan Savage's site, Impeach the Motherfucker Already, or itmfa.com, votetoimpeach.org, they usually mention things like Katrina and the Iraq War and lying to the American public. Those aren't the people who are pushing forward this thought that lying to the American public is impeachable. Need to understand what is actually impeachable, and that may be why, to a large extent, impeachment is not really progressing very much. Another thing that would be impeachable, expanding power is definitely impeachable. That is quite obvious with the signing statements, with the Cheney deciding that he is neither a member of the executive nor legislative branch. It's the office of the vice president. What would that be, the sixth estate? You know, subverting the Constitution. If in fact the 9/11 tragedy was an inside job, there was a thing called MIHOP, which is an acronym for Make It Happen on Purpose. I mean, there's ample evidence, actually. Marvin Bush was the head of security. The 34th floor of the North Tower was vacant and locked, and William Rodriguez, who had the key, couldn't get in, and there were strange noises. Oh yeah, and if anyone saw him on Wednesday, thank you for going, because it was a tremendous crowd and a tremendous speech by William Rodriguez. If that had occurred, all the put options on the airlines who benefited, you know, obviously who benefited is the defense contractors who were spending money on war that never would have probably happened had nothing like that happened. And personal gain, that is, you know, another impeachable offense, maybe tied together. But it's certainly, if you bomb your own country, that is certainly treason. I mean, I don't care if you're using planes or bombs or whatever. That's treason, and that is obviously impeachable. Torture, maybe. I mean, the problem is it's against the Geneva Convention, okay? That's been ratified by the Constitution. So he's not upholding the laws of the Constitution of the United States. So that's actually would be treason. I mean, would be impeachable for means of perjury, for violating the oath of office. So what I have behind me here is a website. If you just tuned in, legalknowledge.com. You can go to it right now. I'm going to go to open lines here in a few, and we have a couple people calling. One thing that I wanted to, there's a site online here, what is it, impeachforpeace.org, and they have an interesting way of, there you go. They have a, let me get out of the way here, here's the best. What you can do is you can send a petition into Congress. It's called a memorial, actually, which is kind of weird because it's like a letter, basically. You're just sending a letter into the House of Representatives by one of the people of the United States, or peoples, and you're just calling for an action in your letter. And the point would be to get millions of people to do this. And what this is Dennis Kucinich came up with this idea. I'm just going to scroll down here a little bit so you can read the actual text of that. Get out of the way. I don't know. I hope the left side isn't cut off. I hope people can read that. It might be a little small, but actually, this can be found online at impeachforpeace.org. But what it's basically talking about is it's giving a couple of well, here I can do it that way. It's giving a couple of items right there that are impeachable offenses, and it's stating that it's the petitioner, that the person writing the letter, would like Congress to take action based on the offenses. If millions of people do this, then Congress might actually, sit up and take notice. So anyway, that was the idea by that. We have a caller, so we're going to go to open lines right now. And the topic would be impeachment. Hello? You're on Illegal Knowledge.
How are you?
Okay, pretty good. Let me put the phone down, and because it wasn't doing anything when I pressed it. Sorry, I want to make sure there was somebody there. I'm going to put you on hold and try again. Hold on. Hold on a second. Hello. There we go. You're on Illegal Knowledge. Hello?
Hey.
Yeah.
I love the shirt.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, you fucking faggot.
All right. Anyway, if we can get people other than pranks to call in, please. The topic is the case for impeachment.
Yes. Confucius say, he who thought out of mouth is outside.
All right, great. Wonderful. Anything to say about the case for impeachment?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. We'll try again. Let's try again here. Welcome, you're on Illegal Knowledge. Do you have anything to say about impeachment? I don't actually have to take calls if people want to call in regarding impeachment. You're on Illegal Knowledge. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you make me scared.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Yes. Hello. You're on Illegal Knowledge. Did you have anything
I was a little boy molested by my father.
All right.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
I was wondering, where'd you pick that shirt up at?
It was given to me.
Oh, yeah. Should take it back.
Okay.
It was whack.
Yeah, all right.
Jizz in my butt, fatty.
All right. I think we're going to just stop with the calls now. If anyone would like to talk about impeachment, that would be nice. The phone number is up there. So anyway. All right. So I'll wait till some more people call in, because it looks like I'm having these two who are. If that first caller, the female caller who was when the buttons weren't working, if you could call, that'd be fine, because it didn't sound like you were trying to prank. I wish you guys had something better to do on a Saturday night, in fact. Anyway, let's try it one more time. Welcome, you're on Illegal Knowledge.
Hi, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
Okay, what are you talking about?
We're
Impeachment?
talking about the case for impeachment. If you have any comments or anything you'd like to talk about, other than perhaps anything that's been covered on the pranks that have called in so far.
Oh, impeach these nuts?
Welcome to Illegal Knowledge. You're on the air.
Yes, this is John Kingsley, and I was...
All right, that's better. Okay, well, I don't know who's watching this, but if there is someone who's watching this who is not just trying to prank call, please call in. If I get more than 2 calls at a time, I will start answering the phones. Anyway, so I was saying that there are websites online that that support impeachment, and it's probably a good thing. The question is how to get it actually into motion. And you know, at the beginning of the Congress this year, seemed like the Democrats were going to, you know, do something maybe with, you know, in terms of how they might progress to possibly prosecute the Bush administration for maybe some things, and you know, it seemed to be sort of moving. I mean, there was actually what was her name from Georgia did the one right at the end of the Congress right before this one. What's her name? The woman from Atlanta, and she Firebrand. She Democrat. She put in a motion to impeach. Unfortunately, Congress is just leaving session and they tabled it and never heard it. We should have a caller ID block, you know, on the, or I mean a call block, so when you get pranks, you can just block them. That would be a really good idea. So the producers here, I mean the other people who actually run Access Tucson, that would be a very good idea. I'm just suggesting that, so that, you know, I could hit like a button when they can't possibly call back in. That'd be great. So anyway, she put that out. Obviously, nothing was done with it. When the new Congress convened, they, you know, were talking about 100 days and how to get everything done, and they seemed to do a bit, and now that the you know, the war funding gets thrown in their face, they back down. You know, it's been, you know, they in my opinion could have done a much better job at, speaking of maladministration, and so it seems that you know, aside from Kucinich and maybe you know, a couple others, Feingold, that no one's willing, or you know, maybe Barbara Boxer, but probably not. You know, and that's why I was mentioning the thing with the Impeach Pact, because if we all write letters in, or something similar, there's a possibility that, you know, something like that could happen. Now, the question is, like, would it be like so much of a national trauma? I mean, it's been written recently that that in yeah, obviously, you know, in a couple of years, Bush is going to be out of office. He can be tried unless he's pardoned for war crimes that were committed during his administration. If he were to be impeached, say for war crimes, I mean, or something leading up to like torture, which is, you know, not upholding the Constitution, which is violating your oath of office, which is impeachable, you know, then yeah, it's not pardonable, actually, which is interesting. Probably that's why Nixon resigned rather than, you know, waiting for impeachment. You know, because you know the remedy is only removal from office, and if he does that, then impeachment is a moot point. But the thing is that you wouldn't be able to get pardoned by Ford if Nixon would have been impeached. All right. The do-it-yourself method is what the Impeach Back, or not Impeach, it was Impeach for Peace, .org is suggesting, and I think that it's possible. I think that within Tucson, there are, you know, what, 1 million people, if, you know, a tenth of them, and then spread the word to other cities. You know, could possibly write in to Congress, to the House of Representatives, and say, yes, I would support impeachment. Granted, it's of Cheney. On that website, there's an impeachment of Bush form that isn't supported by Kucinich. I'm not sure if Cheney's more worthy of impeachment than Bush. I probably, but you know, the president is where the buck stops. I would say that, you know, probably a lot of members of the cabinet are worthy of impeachment. Well, you know, certainly Condoleezza Rice, certainly Alito, probably Rumsfeld, and the first Attorney General. I want to see if there are any more calls. It's, hello, you're on a Legal Knowledge?
Yeah, say hi.
All right. Guess not. Is there anyone there? You're on a Legal Knowledge? Hello, you're on a Legal Knowledge. Welcome.
Can I have some?
All right. All right. Actually, I wanna talk a little bit about yikes. The event that happened last Wednesday. The person from the World Trade Center is a janitor up there. He was essentially the last person out of the Trade Center, living anyway. The North Tower. He was in charge of the stairwells, maintaining, you know, cleanliness, I guess, in the stairwells. He also had the master key, which allowed him to get into any of the floors. Well, when the plane hit, he, instead of evacuating the building, went around and opened all the doors to try to rescue people as much as he could. And personally saved maybe like a dozen or dozen and a half lives, and helped out the firefighters who were getting up there and, you know, didn't have access to the floors. Would have had to, you know, pry the doors open or something, I guess. And he was helping them. He was going in and opening the doors on every floor, so that the firefighters could go in and rescue people, and saved hundreds of lives that way. So he's been going around the country and talking about his experience that day. And it was interesting because he was, you know, obviously he was in the stairwell and he could hear, you know, noises throughout the entire building. He was talking about hearing multiple explosions and, like, other than, you know, after the plane had hit, there were loud sounds coming from the substructure, that there were you know, weird sounds coming from the 34th floor, that it sounded like maybe somebody was, you know, drilling or moving something, or, you know, and you know, he couldn't see what was making the sounds, of course. But insofar as that they were heard by him, and they were sounds that you wouldn't expect to hear from maybe a building that, of course, probably was shifting its load a little bit. Granted, that having all its outside structural, well, the structural supports were inside, but the outside framing supports were missing as a result of the plane impacting. Heard all kinds of strange noises. Noises to suggest that somewhere from the core of the building there was something going on, which should never have happened at the plane hit way up at the top on the north tower, not as far up top on the south. That the inside structure, the 47 box columns, were perhaps being, manipulated, cut after the fact of the plane hitting, and how would that have been possible? Who would be, it's 3-inch steel, it's not gonna, just, and it's a box 2 feet by 3 feet, So it's kind of odd to be hearing things like that. And he was not so much focused on could this be a greater conspiracy than just the hijackers question. He was just simply relating his experience, but it was undeniable that in his experience, he would not back down from saying, well, absolutely, these were things that I heard, and the news people who talked to him that tended to not want to hear that, which is interesting. It was he's been touring the country in Europe and Asia, and on the website here I have a post right there about on Wednesday night. And I actually have a recording of a good bit of his speech, where you can go to the website and listen to it, and you can hear what he was talking about. It's towards the end. I arrived a little late, but it's definitely worth a listen. And to hear the person who was right in there doing that talk about the things that other people were talking about, that everyone that was like on site seems to talk about, that doesn't really get reported, It's kind of interesting. What this has to do with impeachment is that, if there were in fact explosives in the building, you can't, put up explosives in, a couple hours or an hour or 45 minutes or whatever. It takes weeks. John O'Neill was the head of security starting on Monday or Tuesday or something like that, and he was the person who was the FBI whistleblower against when Bush said hands off Al Qaeda earlier in the year. He said, well, what are you talking about? And he was fired. He was given a job of head of security at the World Trade Center. His first day on the job was the day he died. The person who he replaced was Marvin Bush, which is Bush's nephew or something like that. Well, okay, so Bush's nephew, that's not Bush. Well, okay, right. You don't think there's any sort of maybe collusion there between the two? Again, this goes to personal gain. Not to mention treason. Okay, well, let's try the phones one more time. This will be fun. Welcome. You're on Illegal Knowledge.
Yes, what is your show all about?
Well, this week, it's about the case for impeachment. The show is actually, as you can see right here, in the background right there, all that we should have known and we're never supposed to find out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you for not being a prank caller.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Okay. Did you have anything to say about impeachment?
No, not right now. I just wanted to see what your show is all about.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll go to the website, too.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Oh, good. Let's try it again. You can be 1 for 20. Welcome to Illegal Knowledge. You're on the air.
Oh!
Okay. Welcome to Illegal Knowledge. You're on the air.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good.
Yeah, I called you on your last show.
Yeah, okay. Welcome to Illegal Knowledge. You're on the air. Okay, then. Welcome to Illegal Knowledge. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Want to hear a good song?
Is it you saying something stupid?
No, it's a good song. It's like
Oh,
about
okay.
America.
I thought maybe you were going to prank me.
Lock on my knob, like corn on the cob. Check in with me and do your job. Lay on the bed and give me head.
Okay.
Like it?
Sure.
It's good, huh?
All right. Thank you. I don't know what that had to do with impeachment. Let's see if we can find someone who wants to talk about the topic tonight, which is the case for impeachment of Bush and Cheney. As I said, Katrina and lying about the Iraq War aren't really impeachable offenses. You're not under oath. You just lied. It's terrible ethics. It's not impeachable. And that seems to be what people are leaning towards when they try to focus on impeachment. And that may be why impeachment isn't getting anywhere. And the things that could be impeachable offenses would be, well, obviously treason, bribery, and high crimes and misdemeanors. Now, we're talking about the definition of high crimes and misdemeanors. Expanding power, subverting the Constitution, personal gain, squandering the treasury, violations of an oath of office, which is perjury. Those are impeachable offenses. And I think those have a better chance of succeeding in impeachment trial. So we're talking about the case for impeachment. If you would like to, please call. The phone number is right there. Unless you're watching on Wednesday, in which case we are not live, so you can't call. Okay. Let's try going to the phones one more time. Welcome on Illegal Knowledge.
Hello.
Hello. Did you have anything to say about the case for impeachment?
Yes, I'm kind of worried about that.
Okay.
Why would you want to impeach the president?
Well, probably because he's expanded the executive branch to such a large degree that it's upsetting the checks and balances that were built into the Constitution.
Let me see. What other country do you think you can go and live very comfortable and have all the freedoms that you have here?
Okay, well, we don't, if you're aware, the Patriot Act has sort of limited some of our freedoms. We are really turning into a police state. If you try to drive in certain places, it's like a papers, please type thing. I wouldn't say, I mean, we have a lot of stuff. We can buy a lot of stuff. But there's not a whole lot of people who can buy a lot of stuff. All right.
Yeah, well,
And is that free? Just because we can buy a lot of stuff? Meanwhile, our standing in the world is plummeting, and I mean, that's not an impeachable offense, of course. But seriously, subverting the Constitution, which was taken, which Bush has taken an oath of, and Cheney had taken an oath of office to protect and defend, and to have them tear it apart. Don't you think that just prima facie deserves impeachment?
no.
Why? Why?
Did President Clinton get impeached? No.
Well, yes, he got impeached. The impeachment was not successful.
He
He didn't get
get-
removed from office, but he certainly got impeached.
He was involved in a couple of things, and nothing happened to him. You know, the terrorists planned everything when he was in office. A lot of
Well,
things never
yeah,
hit,
the
okay?
coal
So
the coal
just
happened
because-
when he was right.
okay,
that's true.
So by the time
Well,
Bush came in,
well, Bush ignored a presidential daily briefing on August the 8th, which said Bin Laden determined to. The title of it was right on the top of the page. Was
Clinton
Bin
had-
Laden determined to strike targets within U.S.
Clinton had the target on him too, and he decided not to. He had him right on the scopes, and he decided not to too. So
Yeah, you had him in the Yemen hospital. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
okay,
that's true.
So I think
I'm not saying that Clinton is better, and I'm not trying to be partisan.
Yeah.
I don't support Democrats either. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, well, me neither.
I was saying that it looks like the Democrats are being useless on the question of impeachment.
Well,
So yeah, I mean,
well,
but I still think that it's deserving of a look-see. You know, if he's not thrown out of office, then he's not thrown out of office. But I think that there's ample evidence that there have been egregious violations of his office committed by Bush and Cheney.
Wiretapping? Or
wiretapping is a good one. I mean, that's completely prohibited by the Constitution. Nothing was amended. No law was passed.
You shouldn't have a problem with that. If you're on the telephone and you're talking to another out of this country, and you're just saying hi and bye to your cousin or whatever, well, if the government was hearing that conversation, well, they'll hang up. But if you're involved in something illegal, then, you know, we're in work.
Okay. Well, I got a question for you.
If the government hears me on the phone, I don't have a problem, because I have nothing to hide.
Okay, I got a question for you. Let's say you were like, hey, man, I just went to see that movie. It was the bomb. Hey, I wanted to say to my friend, I said, hi, Jack. What about that? Can you say that on the phone? Do you think they'd pick that up? Do you think they'd carnivore that? I'm pretty sure they would carnivore that.
They're pretty
All
smart.
right.
They'll figure it out.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what if you were speaking in code?
Well,
Which one? Which one is it? You see, which one is it?
It don't matter.
Well, are they going to investigate you because of that? Yeah, probably.
Sure.
Now, do you want them investigating you
I don't
for
have a
no
problem.
reason?
You know, like...
Do you want our taxpayer dollars going towards something that is completely irrelevant when what they could be focusing on are well, number one, say save a lot of money and stop giving aid to Israel, because that's gonna pretty much pull our bases out, save a lot of money, and pull our bases out of Mecca, say, or Medina. Okay, you know, we have bases there. Why? You know, that's an insult. Why do we have bases there? Say we could do things that are proactive instead of reactive, or you know, thinking, "Ooh, this might happen, so let's go attack that country."
Okay,
You know, what's
same thing with the people that are pushing the global agenda. It's the same thing, the global warming. This might happen. Are you for global warming too?
What?
The global
Okay,
warming.
all right. See, what's going on here, and I'm going to answer your question. What's going on here is that what we have. Why would you go and say, oh, let's attack? Because when you start a war, and, well, you see, the thing is, the Cold War was happening forever, and it was great for the defense industry. I mean, we needed new stuff all the time. There was a gap of some sort all the time, you know, between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. There's always a something gap, and so we have to have more of this and whatnot. It was perfect for the defense industry. People were getting paid. Everything was good. Then the Soviet Union collapsed. Well, now we don't have an enemy to fight. So if we, in the words of Alex Jones, if we don't have an enemy to fight, well, you have to manufacture one. And so that's what we're doing, okay?
That's
So
right.
now the point is here is that this is for defense contracting industry, that we're going to war so that people can get rich, and a very few people can get rich, so they can buy the lots of stuff that we have in this free country, while the rest of the people who are poor have to go to war, which shouldn't even happen, so that the people can get rich. All right? Okay, you get that? How free is that?
I don't agree. I don't
You see,
agree with
there's
that.
conscribed slavery, which is optional. And then there's enforced slavery. All right? See, that there's a distinction here that I think that you're not getting. And it's because we're living in a corporate state. And it's a really corporate-controlled state. A corporate-controlled state is usually called fascist. Okay? That is the definition of the word fascism. It's the merger of the state and the corporate state, the governmental state and the corporate state. And we are living in a fascist police state. Now, if you would like to continue living in a fascist police state, I mean, what's the difference between a neocon Republican and a globalist Democrat? I mean, one's fascist and one's globalist. Well, what's the difference between fascism and globalism? Well, fascism, the countries have to come from this country. In globalism, the companies can come from anywhere in the world. You know?
Well, if the left is pushing for free healthcare, that's a part of communism.
Well, that would be socialism, actually. That's not communism. Get your terms right, please. It's socialism.
It'll go that way because it's a government that's controlling. It's going to be controlling all us parents and our who we decide who's our doctor and stuff.
If that's the way it comes down, I don't think anyone's going to support that. I think people are going to go, "What the hell? That's stupid." But you know, I mean, if that, yeah, I wouldn't like to see that either. Because people should have choice.
Well,
but you know what? You know what? Way long ago, it didn't cost this much to go see a doctor either. I mean, comparatively to the person's average income, it costs nowhere even close to see a doctor. And why? Because of the managed care. Okay. Again, we're dealing with a corporate state. Do you understand? Okay. The HMOs are corporations, just like, you know, the defense contractors and like the pharmaceutical industry and the banking industry, and the Federal Reserve, by the way, is a corporation, and it should be nationalized or abolished.
I'm pretty sure all that has got out of control. I understand that part. You know.
Yeah. Well, do you want to be living in a fascist state? That's the question.
Well,
you know, and I would say patently no, emphatically no.
But,
so
I mean,
that's where I'm coming from on this.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be trying to blame everything on our president and say we need impeachment.
Well, no, we should blame things on corporations and the president that supports the corporations. Yes, that's true. Yes, so we can't lay all the blame. I mean, he's making it possible for the corporations to do what they're doing. Just because he made it possible doesn't mean that they have to do it. But don't you think a corporation's going to do it if you make it possible for them?
Well, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, really. When you had the opportunity, say, to not make it possible for them, well, which do you think the corporation's going to prefer?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think Bush gets so much money?
Well, because he's
Why do you think that his father
he didn't stay home
was
and be
elected?
He, you know, that's the problem with a lot of people.
I mean, it wasn't because he was just head of the CIA for a while.
Yeah, but you know, that people go up in levels in life. If he would have decided to be a bum, he would have never got anything. So why should we accuse the rich people and have hatred towards them just because?
I don't have hatred. I just don't want the system to be the way it is. I don't hate them. I think that, I mean, just because you want to remove someone from office doesn't mean you have personal animosity towards them. I don't know any of these people. I've never met them. You know,
I think you do.
I've never met them, so I can't possibly have personal animosity. But I mean, I do think that they've usurped their power, and as a result, there should be consequences. I mean, you know, if you do something, it doesn't mean people are mad at you if you're punished. I mean, there's a difference between punishment and consequences. And I think that there should be consequences for Bush's actions. And I think that all his life he never had to deal with consequences. And I think he needs to know now that there are consequences. You know what? I'm going to leave this here because we're almost out of time. And I'm going to take one more caller. I thank you for your call. And please call in. We'll be on, actually, on September 1st. The next show we'll be discussing
one more question.
Okay, really quick.
The thing is that your callers are not challenging you.
Yeah, I know. You're the only one who has. They're all pranking me. With that, I have to leave. Sorry. The next show, again, as I said, is on September 1st. We will be discussing walls and migration. Go to the website right here, and you can suggest more topics for shows. It tells you how, right under the thing, right back there, right down underneath that. If you scroll down, it'll give you the little instructions on. You can actually go in and suggest a show topic for future shows. 1 in 2 weeks is not has no topic yet. So my name is Michael, and this is Illegal Knowledge. See you on Wednesday for the replay, and on September 1st for Walls of Migration. Thank you, and good night.